Hello everyone, it's BG here, and today we're here with a special guest.
What's going on, guys? This is sort of my little re-debut to YouTube. If you've been a follower of mine, MJTV.
So, today we're going to talk about a topic that's been going around the community for quite some time, and that is about our favorite character, All Might. So, if we all remember, back last year we had the Hideout Raid arc, where All Might fought against All For One and came out victorious. Now, there's been a little bit of a thing going around where people think that, for some reason, they believe that he should have died in that fight. Before we get into that, MJ, just give me your preliminary thoughts right now.
Well, I do agree with you. We've been seeing this a lot. Till this day, we actually see people discussing how My Hero doesn't have real stakes and it can't compare to other anime because there's no major death in the series. Like in Naruto, we saw the death of Sarutobi pretty early on in part 1. In Dragon Ball, we see the death of Roshi and Krillin in its first few arcs. I understand that argument. However, you and I have talked about this a lot. Just because a death happens doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to impact the show any greater than if it wouldn't have happened. To have tension and stakes, you don't need to automatically just start offing characters. This ain't no Akame could kill. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to kill a character every episode. And with All Might, he shouldn't have died, bro, but I still see that as being a major argument against, My Hero, and specifically My Hero Season 3. You and I have talked about this a lot. Season 3 has caught a lot of flack, and we're seeing that now. The recent stuff from My Hero has been catching a lot of flack. I think people are forgetting overall just how good Season 1 was, how phenomenal Season 2 was, and one of the major arguments against Season 3 is the All Might and All For One fight. But since this is your video, I'll let you dive real deep into this, and then I'll come in and back you up because I do have my overall points on this.
Right. So they feel that My Hero actually kind of took a shortcut, and it kind of undermines the whole arc because All Might should have died. One of the biggest problems with this argument is that in other series, if they set up a death, they have the character die, or in a situation and they just come back to life. That's one thing. But in this situation, it's a situation where All Might got in a fight, the stakes were high, you as the reader is viewing it, and you're like, oh my, this fight could go either way. What's going to happen?
Right.
And in this case, he came out victorious. I mean, that's the possibility of any fight. There's no guarantee of death on either side, really. And the other thing is that I know people were trying to say there's no stakes, and this, it kind of kills tension. But honestly, I feel that this is actually one of the better outcomes. I know some of the people who are against this idea think to themselves, how could this possibly be a good outcome? It would have been way better if he died. I'll honestly say that this situation that they have right now is honestly probably the best outcome they could have had in terms of stakes and tension, because, spoilers for anyone who is not caught up with the manga, if you've been paying attention to what's been going on now, we've had the Yakuza have risen out of the shadows. We have Gentle, who's just the typical dude who just got screwed over by life and believes he can make it big now as a criminal. A YouTube celebrity criminal, mind you. And then we also have Meta Liberation Army. I don't necessarily think that theirs is completely connected to All Might, but you get the picture though. All of these groups are rising up because of the fact that the one who could finally suppress them is gone. And if you've paid attention to the story so far, crime has risen ever since his retirement.
Yeah.
And the better part about the situation is that All Might himself is not able to combat this anymore. All he can do now is just watch and witness all that he built up. He spent his life on trying to protect and save and suppress evil. But because he is now a powerless, normal person, a quirkless human being, mind you, he's just a bystander at this point, and there's nothing he can do. And so in a way, you could almost look at it as All For One killed All Might, or if All Might beat him but lost his abilities, All For One won that battle.
Yeah, I agree with that. He actually did win that fight because when you think about what that was set up to be, the rematch, that was set up to showcase exactly what this world is and exactly what All Might is. You and I talked about this before. All For One basically unmasked the Hero Society and he exposed All Might, because the Hero Society is basically a joke, you know what I mean? We've been talking about this. A lot of people even questioned if the second hero, Endeavor, could even rise up, and do even half of what All Might could do, and this is again post-training and stuff. That just shows you how crazy the world is without All Might. And you and I have also talked about this too. You just mentioned it. He's a bystander. All Might now has to bear witness to what the world has become because of All For One. That's why All For One secretly won that fight, and that's why he shouldn't have died, because if All For One had killed All Might in that battle, or if All Might had won and then, died because his body just couldn't take it anymore and he died after he beat All For One, he would have died with the image of what his world was, of what he had created. But now that he didn't die, now he has to bear witness to all the stuff that's happening. He has to bear witness to the fact that Deku one day is going to go up against Shigaraki, the successor to All For One. He's going to have to bear witness that more villains and more organizations are going to keep coming and coming and coming, and he can't do a damn thing about it. You know what I'm saying? So that is something that I think is even more horrific than him actually perishing in that fight.
Yes, exactly. In fact, that's the thing. The fight had more significance than even just All Might himself. As MJ pointed out, it pretty much shows the flaws of the Hero Society and the fact that relying on just him was their biggest detriment, because of the fact that shows that once he's gone, that society is vulnerable. This was bound to happen eventually. And now, I think he would imagine he was going to be gone by then. But no, now he has to witness it himself. And now we're at where we're at in the manga now, where the villains are getting stronger, the villains are rising, and they're going to take over.
Yeah, and spoiler warning for those who are not reading the manga, Shigaraki is a damn beast. I'm still standing Overhaul, but yes, Shigaraki's a beast now. Just saying.
Now, thank you all for watching. And MJ, you have any closing thoughts?
I just think we have to get past this. I feel like this goes for a lot of other series. There's series that don't have death involved, but the stakes are there, the tension's there, and just because you don't kill off a major character like every season or every other episode or every episode, I don't think that takes away from the show itself. My Hero is still phenomenal, and I can't wait for season 4 to see the overall arc and the festival and all that stuff get adapted.
Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.